Thanks for joining our monthly community webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, part of the Oracle product management team to support you as a partner. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available. For details, please see our monthly community newsletters and subscribe to our Video Hub channel. In today's presentation, Martin de Grond and Martin J.A.R.V.I.S will introduce Oracle Digital Assistant templates. Digital Assistant is Oracle's chatbot solution. Pre-built templates can accelerate your conversational UI project. Good afternoon, Martin.
Now you're confused.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah, that's me. Got Martin and a Martin.
Hi, Jürgen. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invite. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining.
This is Martin, so I'm happy to be here too. Thank you, Jürgen.
Objective for today's webcast is to introduce Oracle Digital Assistant templates, with the benefits to fast-track your first release or provide a solid foundation to extend and learn from best practice examples. Templates are available, for example, for Oracle HCM, ERP project management, transportation management, TALEO, PeopleSoft, Oracle Field Service, EPM, CX services, and also for functional chatbots like frequently asked questions or an IT help desk. We will start the presentation with the latest community updates. Martin and Martin will dive into digital assistant templates, including multiple demos. We will wrap up the presentation with a call to action and answer your questions. So let's get started. Thanks for everybody who attended our digital assistant introduction hands-on training. This workshop was with 1,550 attendees a big success. It's available now on demand. Objective of the on-demand training is to build your own digital assistant hands-on and to learn best practices to build an awesome bot. The training is available in the Katacoda platform. Hands-on labs include 5 scenarios, including provisioning, to start with intents and entities, to implement a dialog flow, create a custom component, and set up a widget. Special thanks to the trainer team, Ruben Rodriguez from our partner, Avantic, Grant Ronald with the best practice session, and Martin and Martin who will join us today. We had also a special new presenter, Arti, our bot, who answered more than 500 questions in the first training session. It's an efficient example to use the Oracle Digital Assistant, and now live part of the Oracle documentation. Take the opportunity to visit the training on demand at bit.ly/ODA training 2021. All materials available, including the videos, free trials, and the Katacoda labs. For more information, please join our community newsletter and read the April and May edition. On the digital assistant side, we also offer again our famous Oracle hands-on training to connect Oracle Saas. The first training will take place June 15th to 25th for Indian time zone. For details, please subscribe to the integration newsletter and read the May edition. With this short introduction, I would like to hand over to Martin and Martin.
Thanks, Jürgen. So it's Martin J.A.R.V.I.S here. Hence you realise why we had a bit of confusion at the start. 2 Martins on the call. So as Jürgen says, we're going to be talking about Oracle Digital Assistant templates. What we're actually going to go through this afternoon with the help of our time. I'm going to go just a little intro to Digital Assistant, because there may be some people on the call who doesn't know what Digital Assistant is. And I think as we go to talk about templates, I can refer back to some of the concepts we'll introduce there. I'm going to hand over to Martin to talk about why templates are important. And then we're going to very bravely try to cover 4 of the vast quantity of templates we've got available in a very quick time. I'll go through the Fusion HCM skills. Martin will talk about the PeopleSoft skills. We have a new template, which is a CX service template, which I'm going to give you an early preview of. And then we'll finish up with the IT Helpdesk skill before we pass back to Jürgen. So straight away, what is Oracle Digital Assistant? As Jürgen said in the beginning, Digital Assistant is what used to be called a chatbot platform. We like to think of it as our conversational AI platform. It's a very grand way of talking about chatbots, I guess. We feel that we've kind of progressed beyond what used to be very simple use case based, maybe not even using AI chatbots, into something now which is true digital virtual assistants that actually can help you get things done. And as you see, there's a little video here of Artie running. Jürgen mentioned Artie in the beginning. If you want to ask any questions about templates or anything else about Digital Assistant, you can use Artie to do that. And I think Artie is a great example of a conversational experience, which is either chat through text or chat through voice. You see there's a little voice microphone enabled within the window. So the Digital Assistant is all about creating a sort of chat interfaces to your applications. And chat can be either text-based or voice-based. Now, one of the key concepts within Digital Assistant, which we're going to be talking about a lot in this session, is the idea of having skills under a Digital Assistant. What we realized very early on was there's no point creating a chatbot platform that just created chatbots, because you could end up with 50 chatbots within your organization. And then how on earth would people find them? How would they know which one to speak to? So Digital Assistant has this concept of skills, and you can think of skills as being like chatbots individually, but when we deploy them underneath one Digital Assistant. So you can actually have a vast array of use cases supported through one Digital Assistant. Your end users have one place to go to, and then the Digital Assistant will route their query to the appropriate skill. But the question is, where do these skills come from? And clearly, as a chatbot platform or a Digital Assistant platform, we provide you with the tools that you could build your own custom skills. But increasingly, we have a range of skills coming from Oracle. So Fusion, HCM, and ERP are good examples of those, but many of the other areas like PeopleSoft and EPM, lots of places which we'll talk about as we go through this presentation, from Oracle providing skills, but also increasingly from partners, and we'll show you some of those at the moment as well. So what you would do is you would really assemble the perfect digital assistant for your business or for your customer's business underneath one digital assistant to support all those needs. Now, inside a skill, it's worth just kind of bearing in mind how the skills actually work. We combine an AI, natural language processing, all based on machine learning and neural networks and things, to understand what it is the user is asking. We combine that with a dialogue flow engine to actually manage the conversation, because there's no point just being question and answer. Sometimes you need to have a little dialogue between the human and the bot to kind of get to the end result. We have an integration layer that we can connect to back-end systems so the bot can actually find data in systems or even perform transactions. And we have a channel configurator that lets you connect those up to different channels. But so clearly, when you build a skill, there's quite a lot of artifacts you need to put together. You know, there's AI training data, you need to design the conversation flow, and you also need to figure out the integration. And so when we're talking about templates, wouldn't it be nice if somebody already does a lot of that work for you? So I'll hand over to Martijn to talk about templates.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, let me continue where you left off. So why are templates important? To understand that, let's go a little bit deeper first into what is it exactly. So it is a template to create a skill. And one of the questions that we hear a lot from partners is, what do we actually need to use those templates? And as a general rule, we would say you will need the Oracle application where the template is for. And you also will need the Oracle Digital Assistant platform to implement the skill and the additions that you want to make to the templates. And if you look to the characteristics of those templates, there are some differences between the different sorts of templates. But the main characteristics are you have to see them as a pre-built starter solution or a business accelerator, so that you can go to a customer, you can say, look, these are the out-of-the-box capabilities that Oracle already provided or you as a partner provides. And that will speed up your sales cycle. It will speed up in the way you can convince the customer. And if the templates are built properly, the customer will also feel, hey, there's already work behind it, right? It is not a demo. It is really something that is built and going live and being updated along the way. Many of these skills have also a documented integration to an Oracle application, clearly. That's a big advantage. It provides some collection of AI training data often, so that they will already understand the conversation well. And these are downloadable. Most of them are available in what we call the skill store in Oracle Digital Assistant platform, where you can find them and you can download them to your for your own use. But we also have them available in GitHub, where you can download the code. And the partners provide them in Oracle Cloud Marketplace, for instance, where you can find them. So different places where you can find those templates. And a template is nothing more than a more or less out-of-the-box creation of a skill. There's nothing dramatically different between a template or a custom skill. It's only that everything is already more or less pre-packaged. So there's no other technology used or secret hooks in the code. No, everything is similar to if you would build a custom code. It's only pre-packaged. And that's why it is also easy to combine it with other skills or easy to extend, because it follows the same logic and the same principles that go along Oracle Digital Assistant platform. For some templates, I would say these are more standard things. They are relatively static. For instance, I'll show a little bit later an IT Helpdesk template, which is relatively static. We from the Oracle PM team, they created this template, and it is what it is, right? It does the use case, and thus is what it is. But you also have the Oracle application team who are building templates, but on the time improving them, creating new integrations to the backend system, or adding new use cases. I'll show you, for instance, the PeopleSoft longer term vision, and you'll see that they now have an X amount of skills templates available, but are planning to build a lot more. So that also is important to know, and it strengthens the overall story. It also, as a partner, makes you realize that, okay, if I start implementing these templates, I need to be aware what's coming, how do I deal with updates. And so that is for certain templates very important. For other templates, it is less important. Okay. If you would group the templates in a logical structure, I would say that one group to see is the Oracle applications template. So these are built by the Oracle applications teams. They build the logic that they feel is logical on top of an Oracle application. For instance, on top of Oracle TALEO, there is a template that does external recruitment. On top of PeopleSoft, you have HR and HCM solution. Obviously, on ERP, you have solutions, for instance, around expenses, and so forth. And these templates are built by the Oracle applications teams and provided to you as a partner or as a customer to use when you have that pillar Saas queue available. Yeah, that makes it really easy to get forward. We also have a group of templates that are not necessarily having an out-of-the-box integration with a backend system, but are definitely very useful in certain use cases. For instance, if you would present employee chatbots, clearly as an Oracle partner, you can use your knowledge around Oracle ERP, Oracle HCM, Oracle PeopleSoft, the business suite, you name it. But then you can also present a vision that you go further than what those skills are doing, absence management, etc. You can also think of other use cases outside the HR line of business or the ERP line of business, like, for instance, IT Helpdesk. You can also think about policies and use frequently asked questions, for instance, for that. And having knowledge of those templates strengthens your overall story to create a real good vision around what an employee chatbot should look like. And you can extend your integrations into other IT helpdesk systems, for instance, or other HR help desk systems if the customer is not using Oracle for that. Another group which is strongly growing, and we're very enthusiastic about it, is that many partners have done now good projects, and out of those projects, their templating is starting to emerge. And so we have a different group of partners showing that and sharing that in the field. Oracle Consulting does some easy adopt bot for Oracle ERP. Bot Supply has done stuff around financial services and put them in templates. Peak Indicators has done a fantastic job around Oracle Analytics. Intelligent Advisor, Magia, Wind around banking. There's so many to name. Sorry if I skipped you this time, I'll definitely name you another time. There's fantastic work being done by our partners, and we invite you to create your own templates and present them to the audience and to the customers and show the overall strength that you can reach with Oracle Digital Assistant. And that leads me to the topic of why templates are so important. And there's different ways of taking a look at it. If you look to a business perspective, I would say that if you are an Oracle HCM, Oracle ERP, PeopleSoft customer, or e-business suite customer, and you would look for a conversational interface, the fact that Oracle Digital Assistant has all those templates available makes Oracle Digital Assistant a very good contender to use Oracle Digital Assistant for this type of use cases. Now, it is of course important that the customer is aware of that these templates are there, and that's not always the case. So I believe if you are an Oracle partner, engage with Oracle customers using those backends, it's very important that the customer gets aware of it. So also to make their decision over how to create a vision around digital assistants. At larger customers, there might be different platforms at play. From a CIO perspective, it is very logical to start thinking about, okay, what should be the domains where a certain platform is the most logical fit. And we believe for many Oracle applications, because of our templating, we make a very good chance to be the platform for digital conversation, AI conversational platform. So that's from a business perspective. From a solution engineering perspective, those templates really help because they have embedded real business cases, real customers are using them, there's real feedback in it, so best practices are implemented in it. So it saves you as a partner a lot of time because all the first steps to find out what is actually a reasonable candidate for a chatbot is already there because these skills are then built. Also the way the flows are managed is somewhat based on best practices. So from a solution engineering, it helps. And of course, from a building perspective, it also helps because the code is already there and for you to take advantage of. So that would be the three ways I believe to take a look at and see really the underlying value. Clearly, multilingual is something that we can work with. And it is, of course, a solid foundation to extend it further. Okay, I think that is on the why templates section. And then we want to go now into show you some examples. We can't clearly cover them all, but we took out a few which we thought would be really interesting for you. So let's go to the first one that we want to show. It's around HCM and ERP fusion. So Martin, I'll hand it over back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. So Fusion and HCM ones and ERP, we thought we could do these because there are some special cases around them which we thought were worth explaining, and they're probably the one that we get the most questions on. So across the whole of Fusion, I mean, it's easy to talk about HCM. HCM was probably the first one that came to market. So, but it's across the whole of Fusion with HCM, ERP, and Fusion. There are now a set of skills that support all sorts of different use cases. Those skills can be deployed typically through Fusion itself. And the advantage of that is when the employee logs onto Fusion, they're already known to the digital assistant and know who they are, so all the queries they make are in the context of that user. But you can also deploy to Teams or to Slack Clearly, you have to handle authentication in a slightly different way. But you know, that's different ways in which you can actually deploy these. There is some really good documentation, and throughout these slides, I'm afraid we're going to be throwing bit.ly links at you, but we've got a summary at the end to make it easy for you to find them. But there's a really good set of documentation at bit.ly/skills ODA docs, which is each of the use cases and each of the features that these skills provide are actually documented out, so you can go and read some more and learn how to individually configure each one of them. But the one I wanted to just drill into was HCM, because that is the one that's probably most widely deployed at the moment. HCM is actually made up of, I think it's 3 different skills. There's like an employee self-service, there's manager self-service, and there's approvals, which comes different ones. They do things like some basic kind of directory stuff. So if you ask the directory who your manager is or what someone's telephone number is, you can look up your pay slip or your salary, and that's pre-integrated to again, Oracle Payroll. So lots of use cases here which are kind of supplied out of the box, and I'll show you it working in a moment. But there's also the opportunity here to extend them. So I mean, and I think the payroll one's a classic example, because a lot of customers use HCM, but they perhaps use some other area of payroll. So for you as partners, that might be a place where you would look at this as a template and say, right, there's some training data, there's some conversational flow around looking at a pay slip, but I actually need to change that so it integrates into the customer's own payroll system of choice, whatever that might be. There's another kind of set of questions that come up also around these, which I thought was worth addressing, is that to make that authentication work a little easier, as I said, when you log into Fusion, they actually recognize who the user is. We have created what we call a paired instance, and it's a version of, it's an instance of ODA that is associated with every customer's Fusion Apps pod. So if they have a Fusion Apps pod, they already have one of these. You don't need to provision another instance for ODA to make this work. And inside that paired instance will be all of the Fusion skills that I just talked about, and there's a special Fusion digital assistant, and that's, as I said, that the Fusion DA, that's your kind of umbrella bot that points to all the Fusion skills. That's all in the paired instance, and if that's all the customer ever wants to do, that's great. But I'm pretty sure that you as partners and customer will probably have additional requirements where you'll need to create some custom skills. Now, often the mistake I see people trying to make is they try to create another instance and they put their custom skills in the other instance. So what you end up with is 2 DAs and users having to go to 2 different points. That's clearly not what you want. Plus also it makes it much harder to do the authentication. So what we have is the ability for you to put those custom skills inside the paired instance. And you can do what we call instance linking, which means that the charges for the custom skill will go back to the ODA platform subscription that they have, either through Universal Credits or through some other subscription. Anyway, I wanted to put this in here because often when partners are looking for those Fusion skills, they say we provision an ODA instance and we can't find the HCM skills. And the clear reason for that is you need to be on the paired instance. Each has a skill store. We only put the Fusion skills inside the paired instance skill store. So just to make it easy, so people don't try to run them on an instance not deployed ready for and set up for, they're only in the paired instance. So hopefully that's explained what we mean when you hear people talk about paired instances and why that's important to those Fusion templates. Right, so I promised I'd show it working. There's a little video recorded earlier. So you'll see we've taken a screenshot and we've kind of blown it up to make it easy for you to see. So first thing is it recognizes who I am when I open up the window and it says, hello, Brian, how can I help you? And he's asking, is there any pending approvals? And you'll notice we've actually activated, built into the skill is the auto-complete. So it makes it very easy to type in questions that the bot understands. He's asking some basic things around the directory, who his manager is, show me my directs. Here he's trying to give feedback on one of his colleagues. So we've jumped from sort of doing just directory stuff to actual feedback and getting ready for appraisal time. And he says the name of the employee you want to provide feedback on, who can actually see that feedback, and publishing and accepting it. Here's a quick view of the expenses flow. Expenses is part of ERP, but it's all here combined under one DA because it's all part of Fusion. So I believe my video hasn't stopped. Oh, I've run to the end of my video. You get an idea there of kind of what those conversations look like. That's the Fusion skill templates. We have a really impressive customer in Hilton Hotels who's using the HCM skills in production. They were actually our first customer for those skills. And they called their digital assistant Connie, after, I guess, Conrad Hilton, who was the founder of Hilton. They've implemented the absence, directory lookup, payslip, and some of the other features that I've just shown you in their digital assistant. Martijn, why don't I hand over you to talk about PeopleSoft?
Thank you, Martin. All right, so PeopleSoft. If you look to PeopleSoft, they are also very active as an application team in Oracle Digital Assistant, and they are already for a long time building out-of-the-box capabilities in Oracle Digital Assistant, including an integration layer to Oracle Digital Assistant. My personal experience in certain projects is that it is rich in capability. There's a lot of things possible, and so for any PeopleSoft customer to think about employee chatbots, the PeopleSoft out-of-the-box skill make Oracle Digital Assistant a very logical choice if you want to go as a customer in that direction, because doing this all custom in another platform and building your own integration to PeopleSoft, I think this brings a lot of value pre-delivered to the customers. There's just a lot available there. And if you look to the domains, there's different domains that they show clearly on the HCM side as well on the ERP side. As you see, there are out-of-the-box skills, for instance, for requests, balances, company directory, even recruiting, expense, requisition. These are all out of the box already available, but they're also planning on more capabilities along the way. So as a customer, you can start implementing with certain use cases, and then you can also see that the team is keeping investing it and improving it, maintaining it, etc. And that just gives a lot of benefits. We also have already quite an interesting set of customers actually using it. And in terms of documentation, there is this link, bit.ly ODA PeopleSoft, that I advise you to take a look at. It is a full page with documentation on that template, including videos that they have created. The PeopleSoft PM team was so kind to share with me many of the videos, but unfortunately I don't have time in this session to go through them. But I advise you, if you're a PeopleSoft partner or you have customers who also have PeopleSoft, to take a look at them, see the enormous value that it's there pre-delivered available. In terms of customers, Honeywell has been a key customer that started off with PeopleSoft and ODA. Martin, I always wondered if J.A.R.V.I.S was actually coming because of your involvement in the project, or is this just a pure coincidence there?
I kind of shudder every time I see that. I actually wrote that, but it was the direct quote from the customer.
All right. Well, besides from Honeywell, I know many other PeopleSoft customers already working with this. My overall experience is that the PeopleSoft team is really supportive in this and really see this as a key driver to show innovation on PeopleSoft. So good job there, and definitely something worth checking out if you're working as a partner in this domain. All right, now back to Martin for the CX service one.
Okay, we've given you an overview of some skills that are kind of widely available and perhaps you might know lots about, but I thought we'd also show you some of the others which are not so well known. This one in particular is kind of an early preview to something that we've been working on, which is a template skill for CX service. And along with that, so an FAQ template that is part of the CX service template, but you could actually use it separately as well for other use cases. So it's worthwhile talking about that separately. So the digital assistant template for CX, and then we've integrated this with if you're familiar with CX B2C, which some people might call Right Now or Service Cloud. So it's pre-integrated with that. The build up of a number of skills. As you'll see here, there's an FAQ skill, there's a knowledge search skill, an agent handover skill, check status, and then this is a skill that we carry from project to project. It's our reusable small talk skill, just to give the digital assistant a bit more personality. And that's all underneath one digital assistant. So again, you'll be able to deploy this as a digital assistant, and all these skills will be underneath it. Now, in many ways, these are things that have been around for a while. So agent handover and knowledge search, there are pre-built components within digital assistant to provide this facility, but we've never really put them together under one deployable skill. And as Martin was saying, to do it in a way which is sort of production quality and ready to get your project started. The set of skills here is, it's a get you starter kit. It's equivalent to what we've seen many customers go live with their V1, their version 1 release. So we figured that if we can take what would perhaps be a 6 to 8 week project and get it down to 6 days for you, then you can spend a lot more time and focus on the value adds that the customer's really looking for to sort of differentiate their service from their competitors. So the first one I put, just kind of draw attention to, is the FAQ skill. And as I said in the intro, whilst we've put it inside the CX template, it is available separately. And there's another link on the screen here, bit.ly/ODA FAQ template. Frank Nymphius, part of our team, has written this skill template, and he's done a fantastic job of documenting it and recording videos and things. So it's very easy to get up and running. And you may be thinking, well, I thought Oracle Digital Assistant had these things called answer intents. Answer intents are a really simple way of doing FAQs. And this is based on answer intents, but we also had requirements from customers where they wanted to do sort of more multimedia things within the answers they were giving. So links to video, links to other websites, images. So you can kind of start off with answer intents, and then if you want something more, more richer in terms of response, then this template will help you do that, in doing it in a very low code type of way. It's also multilingual ready, so we've got all sorts of resource bundles involved with this, so it's very easy to actually have somebody perhaps from the line of business helping to set up the FAQ skill, regardless of not having to understand all the complexities underneath of coding or anything like that. So it's much easier for someone to set up. The CX template, as well as the FAQ, and we've preceded the FAQ skill within the template to be CX type questions. So you see things like payments and refunds, those are the types of things that we see customers using FAQs with CX to do. We've also embedded knowledge search. So if you ask a question of the digital assistant that is not part of the FAQ, then it will fall back to the knowledge search, and it will search through all the knowledge articles that may be in Oracle Knowledge Foundation. So again, this is pre-integrated with Knowledge Foundation, and then display those results. We've also included agent handover. We've done agent handover a little bit more advanced because we took the time to put it into the template. One of the things you might not have seen before is if it recognizes you've got a ticket already, it will actually ask you if you're calling about an existing ticket and link that to it. We provided a check status skill, which we recognize that most of the customers who are in CX are not in the same industry, and depending on what sort of industry you're in, the thing that you're checking can vary. One of our very big customers you might know is in the parcel delivery business. So if you're checking status there, it's what's the status of my parcel. We've got another customer who's in the business of selling holidays. So what would it be, what's the status of my holiday booking? But it's still essentially the same sort of conversational flow. So we've implemented it as an order check. Clearly that would be a good template for you if you had to adapt it to a different industry. We put sort of stubs in the code so that you could call an API. We've actually provided a flat file of answers, so you could change that flat file to be an API call. Anyway, it's great me telling you about it, but why don't I just quickly show it to you to use this in your projects. And say it will be going into the skills store very soon with the digital assistant instance. That's something we're working on at the moment. But what we want to do is get some early feedback for some projects who need something like this. So at the moment, it's just embedded in a very simple web page. Hello, I'm your CX Service Digital Assistant, you know, I can ask it some simple questions like, what do you do as a business? And because we've used kind of Supremo in the background, we've decided to just standardize on Supremo as being the name of the customer. You'd say things like, can I pay with Alex? This is all exercising that FAQ skill that I talked about earlier. These are simple answering intents. Can I have a refund? But they're all set up again with resource bundles, so it's very easy to tune those to the language that is not the right terminology that your customer uses, or to even do it in other languages. So those are kind of very basic ones, but another one might well be, what are your opening hours? The thing about opening hours is it's never the same for one location. There's usually different opening hours in different places. Some customers will have this maybe in a content management system, some will have it in some sort of API for it. So we've taken the same approach to check status. We set it up as a flat file. We've got some hooks if you want to point at an API, or you could just update our flat file. In this case, I'm just going to say for New York, and it's going to give me what the opening hours are for New York. So knowledge search was the next thing I was going to show. So we've looked at FAQs and answering the questions. What about things that haven't actually been programmed directly into the skill template? We could say things like, can I see the user manual? Okay. And the digital assistant doesn't have any training on that, so it knows it's going to go off and have a look in the knowledge articles, all within Knowledge Foundation. And of course, if I click on the link, I get to the article, which is in knowledge.
Also has some small talk, Martin.
I was just going to just quickly do the agent handover. So let me. So I need to speak to an agent. It wants to capture some extra details from me that it didn't get from my profile. Address. And this is where it's going to look up and show that it's found some tickets already that exist for my email address. Yes, I'm going to extend that one. It didn't work. Let's perhaps leave a message as to what I'm calling about. And what you should then see is in my other window, you should see an alert coming up, which I've been logged out for, but that should come up very quickly. There we go. I can have to log back in. And I should get an alert. There we go. Right. So I've accepted. As an agent, I can now see the conversation, and you see whatever I type on the agent console is appearing within the chat window. That's an auto answer. How can I help? Well, I can't find manual. The agent could read all the history, and if you've seen all this before, then that's standard functionality. But I'll cancel the conversation there. And it's all then handed back to the digital assistant. So that's just a quick overview of what we've got in the skill template.
Martin, regarding the paired instance, is there also a paired instance on CX Service?
No, it's not needed for the CX. So it's just for Fusion.
Yeah,
right. Paired instance.
Yeah. And you mentioned that certain components are already there, right? So for partners to use, there's no need for like the agent handover, and other components are already available. Is that correct?
They are available as components that you can build from, your kind of low-level system components. What we've done here is wrap them up in a skill and a digital assistant to just make them easier for you to deploy as part of the project. Yeah, so as I said at the beginning, this is kind of very early access. It will be going into the skill store. If you need it, then please reach out to us through LinkedIn or Twitter, however you want to do that, through the PM team. There is a DA in the skills. It's all fantastically commented and documented inside the actual digital assistant itself. We provided English resource bundles, but everything is with resource bundles. And what we will be rolling out with this will be some additional test suites and more videos and articles that you'll see coming out very soon. So that's everything on the CX service template.
Sure. Let me touch upon quickly a little bit around. Yeah, so IT Helpdesk is from an employee digital assistant or assistant perspective a quite logical thing to take a look at. If you look to internal help desks, then the IT help desk at a company is often rather big compared to other internal help desks. So it is a fantastic use case to achieve return of investment. And the reason why we also pick it up is that if you're as a partner and you're aligned to Oracle, HCM, ERP, PeopleSoft, or e-business suite, you know, you're probably most logical think about capabilities that extend those applications. But IT Helpdesk can be an additional benefit to start talking about it, to show the strength of ODA as a platform, and that really the people at the customer start to realize I can use one platform to do all internal use cases, including IT Helpdesk, maybe HR Helpdesk, policies, facility management, and you name it. And so IT Helpdesk can be a starting point for you to show a broader vision around employee assistance. So this template is available, and it covers a set of capabilities that are quite typical, I believe, in IT Helpdesk. If you talk to a customer using this template, you will definitely touch upon the standard topics that they will want clarification about if you support it or not. So if you look to the core use cases that you have and that you probably want to cover if you want to do a good IT Helpdesk assistant, you need to cover things like password reset, knowledge base integration, topics around hardware issues, application access, etc. Maybe even agent handover. And what our template is trying to do is to help you in a set of those use cases to move you further down the line and to show you capabilities and show your customer capabilities to offset, to start with that. We have a short video that's also publicly available, so you can maybe use it in your first pitch. But it is also code that is available. You can download it, and therefore you can start demoing it. There's a link in the slides here available. Here you see basically a typical use case around IT Helpdesk is around hardware. And other topics that are covered here in this demo are things like password reset, and in this case the license stuff. For Helpdesk, you probably will have customers with standard IT Helpdesk solutions, and what we see in the field is that partners have integrated Oracle Digital Assistant already with the larger vendors and the most common vendors around IT Helpdesk. So in terms of integration on the other side, we see definitely the possibility there. And it is something you can further explore when you are positioning a larger employee assistant vision. And it is very useful in that sense. All right, in terms of all the links that we have shared, I wanted to give you an overview slide of the core links. And what you need to realize is that these links, they have also some capital letters, so uppercase letters. So you need to follow that relatively closely, otherwise it might not work, the actual bit.ly. And in terms of the core message here, we would say that these templates from a business perspective really bring much more value and bring it much faster to the customer. So use this to your advantage, because you have a very clear, unique selling point when you have an Oracle application at your customer to start positioning you yourself as the partner for building conversational AI for either employee or customer use cases. Okay. Jürgen, do you want to say something to wrap it up further? Martin, this moment.
Thanks for the wonderful presentation. So to wrap it up, we have digital assistant templates available, and they can help you as well in projects, in presentations, as to learn more and get trained. We have them available for Oracle applications, for partner solutions, and certain scenarios. Thanks for the wonderful demos. That was amazing and impressive. And we would like to also invite you to sign up for our partner community newsletters. So for the developer community and for the integration partner community. The on-demand bootcamp is available for partners free of charge. So try it to get hands-on trained in Oracle Digital Assistant and to get a really good overview. And in case you are working on a digital assistant project that you have implemented successful and want to create a template, please let us know. Contact the team. We are very interested to promote your template, and you can also publish it in the solutions catalog, the partner finder, or the cloud marketplace. For the latest videos and previous webcasts, please visit our channel at Oracle Video Hub. And we also would like to invite you to join the Slack channel. With this, we come to the questions and answers.
All right. Jürgen, I saw one question from J.A.R.V.I.S. He's asking if the IT Helpdesk and the HR Helpdesk templates are the same. No, they're not. So the IT Helpdesk is a template that is specifically built for the IT Helpdesk use cases. So with code around, for instance, password reset. The HR Helpdesk template that is also available from Oracle is more a specific template built with the Oracle HR Helpdesk application as the backend. So these are definitely distinct templates. And so the IT Helpdesk you use more if you have to connect to an external IT Helpdesk system, and the HR Helpdesk is more if you want to connect to the Oracle application HR Helpdesk.
Great clarification. If you have questions, you can still submit them in the Q&A tool, or you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. So there's a question from Jonathan Watson. He was checking if templates is the new name for what was previously known as skills in HCM and ERP skills.
Yeah, that's a really good question. No, skills are still a thing. What we were trying to do with the word template is to say that this is something that we're giving you pre-created. It's got AI training data in, it's got some conversational flow in it, but it's there for you to be as a starter, so you can extend it and tailor it to your use case. The reason we don't call everything just skills is because you may have some custom skills, or you may have some other skills from elsewhere, whatever. And we wanted to just try and make a differentiation. So consider these templates for your project to help you get started. They are template skills.
Okay, next question from Divanshu. Which version of ODA templates are supported?
I understand the question. Which version of it? ODA
Which
templates?
version of Digital Assistant supports the templates?
Okay, that makes sense. We can. I guess that all the templates are certified on the latest version of Oracle Digital Assistant. Being a cloud service, it's very unusual for customers not to be on the latest version. But we have a neat feature within Digital Assistant, which means that even when you are on the latest version of the cloud service, we actually still run the language models from previous versions. So if you have got an older version of a skill that's only certified to run with an older version of the language model, you can tell it to run on the older version. So that's not an issue.
And then there was a question if we have release notes for the updates and versions of the skills, and where to find that information in the documentation.
For the most part, we do. I think this is probably what Martijn was trying to get to, is about the different kind of level. Some of the ones which are productized more, you'll find within the product documentations, like for HCM, for example, you'll find there's a support note which talks about all the features. Whenever the HCM applications do a release, they'll update and tell you what features they're adding. The IT Helpdesk one, we just published that on our blog. We're not necessarily planning to make any updates, but if we did, then that would go onto the blog. That's why we're trying to share with you as many links as possible so that you can get access to what you need. And then, again, any questions, you and the partner community, just reach out to us either through our Slack channel or directly. We're happy to answer them.
Okay. There is, of course, a question where to find the presentations and the on-demand recording. We will publish that material at the Oracle Video Hub channel, so please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And there's a question from Osan: are the templates available for EPM?
Yes, I believe there are templates for EPM. In fact, I can hear Joe's on the line. Joe's probably more familiar with that. Perhaps you could answer it in chat.
Joe, you would like to answer it?
I believe it is in the skill store. I can't unmute but I believe it is in the skill store, to be honest.
Yeah. So so the enterprise performance management is being GA'd currently. So you can just find it in the skill store, and we also have product management team who is interested to work with any initial adopters for the EPM skills. So just let us know and we can connect you with the right resources.
Cool. Thank you, Joe, and thank you for answering all the questions in the FAQ. If you have questions, you can still post them. And as a reminder, you can also ask Arti. Arti is our digital assistant, part of the documentation, and it's working wonderful. So like we did in the last training, the bot is really taking a lot of workload from us. You can also raise your hand and we unmute you. Martin, J.A.R.V.I.S, do we have any more questions?
Let's have a look through.
Yeah, Lokesh asked around, do you need to buy additional ODA pass license for building a custom skill? What I want to emphasize is that even if you use the templates, and if your scope of your project is only the template scope, you most likely will need the platform, right? So the platform is not only if you want to build custom skills, but even if you want to implement the out-of-the-box template that is available. That is more or less the rule. And so keep that in mind, Lokesh, whenever you go further on your project.
One from Devanshu, he's asking more details about FAQ, IT Helpdesk and COVID-19. I think we've done a pretty good job on the FAQ and the IT Helpdesk. So just to say that the COVID-19 skill template that we released, we actually developed just over a year ago for obvious reasons. That's been deployed by a number of customers in the early days of the pandemic who were having to respond very quickly to employees working from home. And we're trying to provide mainly FAQs. That skill's still available. We don't necessarily keep it up to date in terms of answers. So if you wanted to use that skill, you could, but you clearly need to keep it up to date with the latest regulations and policies in your geography.
PICASO is asking about Oracle Fusion ERP and the modules and the features that are bundled around ERP. Around ERP, there are a few templates made. So one is around expenses, which is very good implementation of expenses. I believe project management, Martin, is that correct? Is that part of ERP?
Yes,
that's a skill that is available. And around ERP, we also see other use cases, like a partner has built, for instance, an easy adopt bot with FAQs around how to use ERP. And that's also actually what we see a good use case for ERP implementations, that you use the digital assistant that is inside the application to guide the user on how to use the new ERP application. That's a good one. We have also seen projects around ERP, which is not a template, but is doable with the FAQ template, for instance, around e-sourcing. So when you deal with suppliers, then often the business case is around helping suppliers deal with the sourcing cloud of Oracle ERP. at Oracle Transportation Management. You also have a skill or a template available. I don't think I missed any, Martin, but yeah, I think this is the list, and we gave you a link in the PowerPoint slide with an overview of all the skills, and you can find there all the ERP skills that are available. Hope this helps, PICASO.
Yeah, and just to add what Martin was saying there before, is I've seen a few people in the chat saying having problems with some of the links. These bit.ly links are case sensitive, so you do need to make sure you get the case the same. So if you're trying one of the links and not going to where you think you should be going, it's probably because you've not got the right case. And I know that some people are using the CX service template, because I'm seeing incoming chats coming into my Service Cloud help desk right now.
Yeah, so Nagaraj asked around for digital assistant, we need to have a separate instance on which DA resides. So Nagaraj, for ERP, you have a what we call a paired instance. So our advice is to work on that paired instance since the API authentications, IDDCS setup, and the skill setup is already there. So work with what we call the paired instance, and you can go back into the recording maybe later when we see that around that topic.
So thank you very much for all the questions. We had a wonderful webcast, so with an amazing presentation from Martin and Martijn. If you have further questions, please feel free to reach out to your local partner manager from the Alliance and Channels team. You can also contact the speaker team and of course Arti, our digital assistant, and there is the Slack channel available for you as a partner. As we start the new fiscal year in June, and we hope to see you all back in June, and we are looking forward to welcome you to our next community webcast. Thank you for attending.